let's spend as little time as possible on the next segment, Westworld. While the rest of the media is giving Kanye
Hello,
West,
Arnold.
While the rest of the media is giving all of the attention Kanye West doesn't know he doesn't need.
Colorado failed me. We put him on the ballot.
That's going to be really funny. That's kind of the basis of the story. We are covering Kanye West as a response to the media covering Kanye West as a spectacle, when we are trying to contextualize this as an artist with a storied history who is in the middle of a mental health crisis.
And we've been saying that from the get-go, and no one seems to catch on.
We're going to continue saying it so that one day we can be right, and hopefully it's not in a tragic way. But Forbes did an interview with Kanye West because Forbes is horny for this kind of clickbait, and Kanye West desperately needs the oxygen because we've reported bad news on the Kanye West 2020 saga, but he won't argue. Kanye West says that he won't argue with the idea that he is a spoiler candidate to go against Joe Biden, saying, quote, "I'm not going to argue with you, Jesus is king." That kind of note was underscored in context by the news that broke out in the New York Times, among others, that there are at least 4 key figures within Republican politics who have been working to get Kanye on the presidential ballot. The idea, according to these political science geniuses, is that he is going to bring votes away from Biden and therefore help Trump win. Meanwhile, the Democrats are thinking, okay, well, if this campaign goes anywhere, which it probably won't, it'll probably steal votes from Trump because they would have been black conservative voters. It's really his only voting bloc. You have to look at you don't have to, but one can look at the perspective of the 3 GOP operatives who they don't care about Kanye West. They don't care about any of his feelings or how he's doing as a person. They probably don't like him, and they probably don't like black people all that much. They're just cynical political operatives who want to collect a check in DC, and this is one of the ways to do it and not directly align yourself with Donald Trump. I don't know, this is a funny story to them. I always want to put my mind in the place of the people who are taking advantage of people who are quite clearly need help,
and no one around him wants to seem to help. As much as fuck Kanye for many reasons, but it's especially if you watch his rallies and stuff, I'm like, dude needs help. And we've said this before many times on the podcast. There's so many people surrounding him that aren't speaking up. But I think this is also an issue if you surround yourself with yes men. Yeah. Which happen Elon Musk does the same thing. You surround yourself with yes men, you kind of crash and burn, so it is a reflection of your own personality. It's a reflection of yourself too, depending on the people you put yourself around with.
Most of the yes men won't be around when you crash and burn is the thing too.
Yeah.
And it just
they're gonna jump the ship basically.
If you're a loved one around Kanye West, you are failing to do your job in protecting him and not being taken advantage of, because Kanye West's thing where he was crying about abortion and stuff like that was on Tucker Carlson's show. I don't even know if anyone around Kanye's orbit knows what that means. That Tucker Carlson is actively using Kanye West's face to promote his fascist ideology. I'm not afraid to call Tucker Carlson a fascist because he's a news broadcaster who says that immigrants should be purged from the country. So I feel pretty confident in that statement.
Take your hands off
my tacos. But
those are my tacos.
Noted frozen taco magnate Tucker Carlson. But it is eminently frustrating, again, as someone who doesn't love Kanye West that much, or as the recent Kanye West behavior, to see this sort of blatant and cynical fact he's being taken advantage of. Yeah, exactly. Last note, you mentioned that apparently he got on the ballot in Colorado, because at this point you need to gather signatures to get on the ballot anywhere.
He didn't in Illinois.
He did in Illinois. He submitted the signatures. The signatures came back and they said, okay, half of these are invalid. Because believe it or not, we do actually have an infrastructure in place in the United States to handle voting and ballots. And so if people send in a bunch of signatures, we can verify those signatures and figure out if you're a lying candidate or not. So it seems like we shouldn't worry too much about vote by mail. Anyways, he submitted a little over 3,000 signatures. Almost 2,000 of them were ruled to be invalid. And Kanye West would have until August 21st to appeal all 2,000 of the invalid signatures, which is not going to happen. Otherwise, he's going to be kicked off of the ballot. This is important being Illinois because this is his home state. If you're a politician...
Home state is where you get an advantage usually.
Home state is usually your closest advantage. And he's not even going to get that. I don't know, maybe Wyoming will stave off some votes for Kanye. I don't know.